the More Than Numbers podcast.
Hello and welcome to the latest More Than Numbers podcast. I'm thrilled today to be joined by John Cottrell, Senior Partnership Executive at the Midlands Air Ambulance charity. Now we're filming today on the 21st of May, a really important date for the charity because it is actually their 35th birthday. Now CK have been working with the charity for a number of years now, probably coming up to 4 or 5 years. And over that period of time we have seen the incredible work that the charity does over such a wide area, and given it's this special 35th birthday, I thought it was a really important and great opportunity to get John along to share a little bit with all of you out there what the charity does and how you can support the charity as well going forward. So welcome John, great to have you here.
To be here.
So do you want to just give us a bit of background to yourself, how long you've been working with the charity, all of those sorts of things?
Absolutely, yeah, thank you. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. I've been with the charity just over 12 years now, so that time has just
flown by.
Yeah, I just love it as much today as I did 12 years ago, and I wish I'd got into working in the third sector sooner than I did, but yeah, it's just a wonderful job. I mean, you know, my background is in a sales environment around advertising and newspapers back in the day when newspapers were popular. So come from from that kind of background and a challenging background, high pressure, and then through an old colleague found myself being interviewed by Midlands Air Ambulance charity 12 years ago, and here we are today. So I just only look back over the last 12 years with fondness and great pride, really. So yeah. And
I suppose to see how far that charity has come in those 12 years, it's huge. I mean, you know, you've had the new headquarters relatively recently built, a huge change, fantastic building. If you want any meeting space, great space there.
Yeah, meeting space is available, and our guys do a lot of first aid training out there. So yeah, there's some great opportunities to come and have a look and make use of the building.
And over those 4 years that we've been working with you, I've got to know a number of members of staff there, and it's really clear how passionate you all are. Not just, as you say, it's not just a job, you're passionate about the charity and the work that it does. Yeah,
passionate, proud, all those kind of things. So yeah, I mean, you know, it can be a challenging job at times. You know, you have to be resilient, you have to be driven, but absolutely it's always a pleasure to work for the charity, and it's every day is a different day, definitely. And we, you know, there's many great things about it, but you know, over the past 12 years, you know, and in more recent years working with yourselves here at CK, that's the great joy of the job, that you do get to work with some really, really good people, some great organisations who only want to really do really good things for us, and that's, you know, for us, that's just a really nice environment to work in. So it's a joy, really.
So just to give people a bit of background to the charity, because I think, and I was definitely guilty of this, that you see these Midlands Air Ambulances and you think, because it's got the word ambulance in the title, you automatically assume it has some level of government funding, because they are all over the country. But actually, absolutely no government funding whatsoever.
Nothing at all. Yeah, so we're now kind of sitting on a situation where we're raising, you know, having to raise around 19-20 million pounds a year, and you're quite right, that is without any government or National Health Service funding. So that brings its own challenges. But as you mentioned before, it's our 35th birthday today. So, and the charity's changed a great deal in that time. But we still continue to have such great support, I would say, from general public, of course, from the business community, and that's, you know, we're totally reliant on that, and that's how we keep the service going, because I think people have a great fondness for the charity, and as they find out and understand more about what we do, the kind of incidents the crews go to, the level of skills that they bring to the scene, I think that really engages them with what we're all about. And we're so fortunate in many ways that we work with so many great people, and who really want to get behind us and help support us. So.
And I think, just to clarify for people, when we talk about the Midlands, it's such a wide area. Am I right in saying 6 counties that you cover?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so Midlands Air Ambulance charity, we operate, as you say, across 6 counties. So really from the north of Staffordshire, all the way down to Gloucestershire and Herefordshire, and pretty much everything in between. So, yeah, it's a vast area. I think we now care for a population of around 6.5, 7 million people.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a really, really big area.
And we talk about those 35 years and where the charity started to where it is today.
Yeah.
And, you know, you've got Air Ambulance in the title, but it's not just in the air anymore, is it? And it's 24/7,
Correct.
road and air now.
That's
so
correct.
do you want to just tell us a bit more about how that works?
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, you're quite right of how, you know, where we are today compared to where we were 35 years ago. The service has changed such a great deal. You know, from what we classed back in 1991. And the service was very much around, we called it a scoop and go service, so where the guys would be dispatched to an incident, but the service was very much about getting to scene as quickly as possible, loading the patient as quickly as possible, and then getting them off to hospital to receive that additional care. But yeah, so we've come a long way since then. As I mentioned before, we operate with 3 helicopters, really pretty much covering the hours of daylight. But you're quite right. For the last 2 years, we have now a fleet of critical care cars which we operate overnight. So yeah, we're now offering that 24 hours, 7 days a week service, and yeah, and it's just only one example of certainly how the charity's changed in the 12 years I've been there. And you know, it's done. It's such a great way. It's so great that we can do that, because the need for the service, the requirement for it only increases. So the way that the charity's adapted to be able to provide that service is really key, very important.
But obviously that brings its own challenges as well, because you have to fund that, and as you say, it's no longer that scoop and go service.
That's right.
I mean, the skill set of the people, of the paramedics, the critical care paramedics, and the doctors that you've got working for the charity, the equipment that you've got is absolutely incredible. But that brings its challenges to fundraise for that. So I suppose, you know, in 2026, what are those biggest challenges that the charity faces at the moment?
Well, yeah, I mean, certainly currently, when we're looking at situations around the world, particularly in Iran, in the Middle East conflict, that has a direct impact on the charity, because obviously
fuel costs.
We fly with aviation fuel, absolutely. So that has had a real impact. So what we're finding is that the cost of aviation fuel has doubled.
Wow.
Since the start of that conflict. So, and obviously the charity has to find that money. I mean, thankfully, you know, we're in a good financial position, very, you know, financially robust, which means we're able to do that. But yeah, it's something that, you know, obviously the charity make a plan for the year ahead or many years ahead, and obviously kind of the cost of aviation fuel is one thing, but yeah, so that's really created a real issue for us, as it has for other air ambulances right across the charity. So yeah, aviation fuel again, and obviously we're operating with cars in the day, so it's all additional costs, which so yeah, that's a really big challenge for us. Yeah. And the kind of, you know, you mentioned our critical care paramedics, our doctors, the equipment we carry, the skill sets that they bring with that. Yeah, you know, they're performing at the highest level of trauma care, and you know, the kind of equipment they carry, it's expensive, but you know, it's absolutely,
but it makes such a difference.
I mean, it really is.
I had the pleasure of going around and seeing one of the cars and the equipment that was carried, and there was a piece of equipment that was specific for very young children that I don't think is necessarily carried on NHS ambulances, but makes such a difference to the chances of any young child, and it's incredible that you have that ability to get that and to really make a difference. Yeah,
you know, absolutely, and that, you know, that the need for that piece of equipment would come, you know, that would have been highlighted by a member of the crew, and it does, you know, kind of stress the importance of us, and you know, and the desire for the charity to be independent, because from highlighting what, you know, a piece of equipment that can really make a difference. You know, as long as the funding is there and the case is made by that individual to the senior leadership team of the charity, the board of trustees, that decision can be made relatively quickly, which I think is really important for us, and to say that having that independence is very important. So, but the guys, they do such amazing work. Yeah, they do, and we work in that environment every day with them. We get to know them, really well. They're a great bunch of people, and they are making it. There's no doubt they absolutely make a difference to people.
Absolutely. So we spoke about very briefly your new headquarters, although it's probably a couple of years old now, but an absolutely fantastic base to have the charity. Yeah. Not far from Cottrell Air Base, so brilliant place. But do you want to tell us a bit more about what that space offers?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is. Yeah, fundamentally, it's a great place to work.
Fantastic.
It's a really lovely environment, and it serves as an air base and headquarters. So. Yeah, it's such a great facility. It's a lovely place to work, as I say, but actually is now proven to be a really important income source for the charity as well. So the kind of things we do, we've got some great spaces available from our viewing area through to boardroom, and what we're finding is it's just a really nice way for companies to initially again engage with the charity by taking a meeting away from their normal workplace, a normal work environment, and making use of the facilities that we have. So we hire that space, that provides income for us. So it's already kind of paying for itself, as well as being a lovely environment and a nice place to work. And I say it's just such a great way from a corporate fundraising, corporate partnerships point of view, another way for us to kind of broker those introductions and broker those meetings. So that's really fantastic. And in addition to that, another key area for the charities around education and training. So again, not just great spaces for us to be able to do that kind of thing, but again from an income point of view, for us to put on first aid training at work courses, and an array and lots of choice around the kind of courses that we do. So it's just again another form of income. Yeah,
diversification.
Absolutely.
But a fantastic space, and those first aid courses, very eye-opening, I have to say. So, the charity touches so many people's lives, and I'm sure you must come across that on your day-to-day, out and about, meeting different people. But it always amazes me how often I speak to somebody that goes, I know somebody that, or it was this, that I know the charity through.
Alex, it happens all the time. So, over the last 35 years, the charity's responded to over 82,500 missions. So, it's a big number. And only this week I was fundraising and had some really lovely conversations with a lady in particular who was so grateful for what the crew had done for her grandchild, and also to a gentleman who'd been airlifted himself. So we do, you do get to meet people all the time, and not that we need it very often, but it definitely serves as a motivation to carry on with all the hard work that we do.
Yeah, I mean, I was, as you know, I did my first marathon for the charity. A huge thank you to everybody that donated. Really, really grateful. I eventually got there. A bit of a story behind it. In my first attempt, I blacked out at mile 13. But what amazed me is actually this lovely lady that was just passing by, that I woke up to her face. Jenny, if you're listening, Jenny, thank you so much. And a load of paramedics around me. She actually had been touched by the air ambulance, and it was so incredible to hear her story. And very, very grateful, but amazing how you just come across these random people that have been touched
all the time.
But then you talk about 82,000 missions over 35 years. That's a lot of missions, helping a lot of people.
It is,
and making a real difference.
You're absolutely right. So I mean, kind of on average, we're doing around 4,000 missions every year, and I think it's fair to say that the charity gets busier and busier. Unfortunately, people have accidents, people fall ill, and I think that's why it's really just the importance of what the crew do, what the service is all about, and they do bring a different skill set, different equipment on board. They really are taking that hospital level of care to the patient, and that's where they can make a difference. get to the patient, assess them, and really, do their work at the roadside, at the patient side, and that's where their skill set, that's where they really make a difference to people. And thankfully they're able to help many people, who are, very often having their kind of worst of worst days, really. But thank goodness they're there and able to help them.
So I suppose now, talking to people about how they can help the charity, I mean, just to give a bit of background to CK's relationship, as I say, we've been partners for 4 years.
That's
I
right.
can't see that stopping, and I think that long-term partnership from a corporate point of view, long-term bespoke partnership is what I'd say, which is all about relationships, is really, really important, and is where the charity gets the value, but also the business gets the value from as well.
Well, you're right, Alex. I mean, relationships are the key. I think for any charity, and in particular, obviously speaking about ourselves, those long-term partnerships are key. So I think we have a number of companies that support us, as a charity of the year, for which of course we're incredibly grateful for. But I think it is those long-term partnerships that can make a difference, because I think, using CK as an example, you've supported us so well over the last 4 years. I think the value of your support is already over £20,000, which is significant. It's wonderful, and we know that you've been involved in that, and so many of the team have been involved in that. So it's developing those partnerships, and really what we hope is that it's definitely a two-way thing. We want companies to feel, like that sense of pride that I feel, and that you become and feel part of that MAC family, the Midlands Air Ambulance charity family. That's what we like to achieve, and it's definitely not a one-way thing. It is about getting to know our partners and building those relationships. That's what's really key.
And I think it's also for us as a business, not just about writing a cheque.
No,
it's about more than that. The team building that comes with it. But often there are easy things to do. So one of the things that I absolutely love is the donation boxes that we have here, which if any business wants, I'm sure you'd be happy to provide them.
Absolutely.
A big donation box, put all of your unwanted items, and it goes to your charity shops around the region, which for me is fantastic, because whenever I'm having a sort out, I just pop it in the boot of my car and it comes in, although I've got a load to come out today of books, etc. But they are such an easy way for businesses to support the charity, and all you need is a small space for that area. The charity will come and collect the donations. So that's a really easy thing to do.
Absolutely, it is.
And then it goes up.
Yeah, it is an easy way, but it's really important. You mentioned the charity shops, and we're I think the plan for the charity is to increase the number of shops that we have. So obviously we increase the number of shops, we need to increase the amount of stock that we get. So it's a really, really simple way, really effective, and really, really important for us. And it's one of many ways that people engage with the charity, through donations, through volunteering. I know you guys have volunteered for us, and we see real value in that. You're quite right. It's not just about how much an organisation raises for us. Of course, that's important. But it's all about developing that relationship. That it isn't just about that. It is about volunteering. It's about supporting the charity in lots of different ways, and I think that's something we do really well, and that we're really proud of. And CK is just such a great example of a really good corporate partnership, so we're very grateful for
we've absolutely loved being a corporate partner, and long may it continue. But I think just highlighting for other businesses out there the collaboration, but also the networking that comes from it. So you held a brilliant morning session for all of your corporate partners to come together, talk about ideas about how we can support the charity, but also for how we can work, other corporate partners could work together, and that was brilliant. I think we could have sat there and chatted for the entire day with ideas, but it really is more than just writing a cheque.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we see real value in that. So it is important that we develop the relationships with our corporate partners, but definitely see it as a platform where, and we saw that, Alex, you're quite right, the think tank we did back in April this year, and we've seen already examples of some really good ideas that came out of that from people like yourself and other supporters of the charity, and really using the experience that you have in business to come up with ideas for us, and we're incredibly grateful for that. But yeah, and we've also seen examples of individuals, companies who were there on that day, who are now chatting and talking together, and let's see if that's a way that those businesses and those relationships can move forward too.
So I suppose in terms of, if there's anybody out there that wants to volunteer either as an individual, how would they go about that? If they're a business, how do they get in touch with yourself?
Oh yeah.
What's the process for people?
Yeah. Well, there's a number of ways. Obviously I'm on. I'm on LinkedIn. I'll do that a bit again. Yeah, I mean, there's a number of ways. You can obviously connect with myself on LinkedIn and other social media platforms. You can contact the charity through our website, and all I do is just encourage people to initially to get in touch to find out more about what we're about, and kind of see where that conversation takes us, because I think what we find is that the best relationships we have, the more effective partnerships, is where there's the buy-in from the individual, from the company, to the charity, to the service, how they can see that they can make a difference. That's really for me, that's the first step. That's the most important thing. Have that engagement, have that, that drive to want to do something for the charity, and it starts with that. Yeah. And then the relationship just kind of, we hope, and builds from there, and everybody has a really good feeling and a real nice sense of achievement of doing something really great for us, and hopefully enjoying that at the same time.
Yeah. Well, it is an absolutely fantastic charity, filled with fantastic people, and I'm always amazed and inspired whenever I go and speak to the paramedics, see the air ambulance and the cars. So thank you so much for coming today and telling everybody a little bit more about the charity. As I say, an absolutely amazing charity. I know there are loads of fantastic charities out there, but on this very special 35th birthday year, and actually 35th birthday day, great to have you here and tell you all a little bit more about the Midlands Air Ambulance charity. So if you do want to find out more details, then please do get in touch. We'll be happy to pass on John's contact details. Alternatively, you can get in touch with him on LinkedIn. But thank you so much for joining us on this episode of More Than Numbers.
The More Than Numbers podcast.